So really, that's how companies build their story is usually I saw that there were some kind of investors involved before they get to the stage where they want to do that IPO, right? So it's really about tapping into that community, that knowledge. And I would say that across the board, it usually happened that the company would go public in their local market, right? Because you're competing in the US with there have been some high profile IPOs, for example, Viking cruise ships just went public a week ago. Reddit, the big companies out there, a few AI companies as well. That's where the 800-pound gorillas are going. I think politically here in the U.S., the landscape is better than it was a year ago, but it's not fantastic, right? So there are probably more IPOs in the pipeline, but still there's a lot of uncertainty. In the beginning of the year, there was some expectations that rates will be cut 4 or 5 times perhaps this year. Rates, we don't know what's going to happen. And it was, we're still wrestling with inflation. So I'm just pointing out that it's not easy to come out of the box here. So it might be easier to go onto a local market, but that's where really I think the OTC market has really come in and helped because they can give you exposure to the US, take advantage of some of the visibility programs they have without the compliance obligations that are required.
So let me just explain how that worked for us, and you can correct me if I was wrong. But so when we were looking at an OTC listing, like I mentioned, other markets have, all markets have their own little rules and pros and cons. Some are more flexible than others. When we were looking at US markets, many of the markets, like the NASDAQ, had quarterly reporting. And for a small company, that's a big overhead you basically finish one quarterly report and start the next one. It's a pretty brutal schedule. Whereas in Frankfurt, we had a annual audited reports, and then half a year later, you did just management reports. And that in itself was still a big piece of work. And one of the things that you sold us on with the OTC QX was the fact that we could use the same reporting structure that we were already using in Frankfurt and then get access to the American markets.